Hey adventurers! Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I am doing this video alone without Tony. So I am going to be talking about reasons why I love Little Women and maybe prompt it in your mind to consider reading it. I recently read Little Women through for this second or third time in my life, and I gotta say I loved it even more than before. And I was able to kind of pinpoint exactly what I love about it so much, and I'm really excited to share that with you. So first of all, the characters, they are so well developed. They're realistic, they're flawed, and everything in the book that the characters do, they do within their character. There's nothing that's really abnormal for them. And it's also amazing to see how much they grow throughout the book, their character arcs. I mean, the book spans, I think, close to 10 years time, and just seeing how much these girls grow is really amazing. So, and this is the part that I think is what really draws me to this book and really makes me love it. Little Women paints girlhood and womanhood in a truly beautiful way, and it shows true femininity. So femininity has to do with being confident in the way God made you and in the strengths he puts within one girl as a woman. True femininity is a woman set apart to serve the Lord. So there's one line in this book that really encapsulates this whole true femininity thing that I think of when I think of Little Women. So this is a part in the book near the end where Marmee and Jo are talking, and Jo's kind of opening up to some of her struggles, and Marmee is giving her as the advice, that good advice that Marmee always gives. I'm glad of that, Jo, for it shows that you are getting on. There are plenty to love you, so try to be satisfied with father, mother, sisters and brothers, friends and babies, till the best lover of all comes to give you your reward. The best lover of all is referring to God and the great love he has for us and those who trust and follow him. This true representation of femininity is probably the main, not the main, but something that makes this book so out of the league of other books, in my opinion. This is why I get so ecstatic when I think about it, because it paints it so beautifully, and what other book does this? Very, very few, especially in contemporary fiction, paint it like this. It's one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen of femininity and girlhood and womanhood. So this theme speaks to me on a personal level, and that's a huge part of why I love Little Women. As you guys know, themes are really important to me in a story. I want them to be strong, I want them to be relatable and personable, and this one definitely hits all of those points. One other thing I love about this book is the length of time we get to follow the story for. And I know I kind of mentioned this earlier. Because this book spans such a long time, we get to see the defining moments in all of these girls' lives and how they're changing from those defining moments, and as new ones come up, new defining moments. I love that we can see them grow so much because we have so much time to see them grow in. The writing style of Little Women is so beautiful. I love this writing style. It's a little bit slower paced than you might think, or than might be appealing to everyone. And like I said before, she does span a very large time span of these 10 years or whatever, and you can see, I mean, it's a big book. I'm also really impressed at how smoothly she spans her time gaps. That's amazing. I mean, sometimes almost 2 years go by and you don't feel like you've missed anything important in their lives, but you can see that they've grown in those 2 years. I don't know, it's a balance, and she does it really well. Louisa May Alcott hits it right on the nose. There's no jolting year passes. There are some year passes, but they're not jolting. It all seems very gradual, and I do think the slower pacing does play a part in this. The plot of Little Women is so unique, and something you don't see it very often in a modern book, or even in some older classics. It's definitely got a classic style to it. It follows lives. It's almost like it could be written in a journal format, just how closely it follows these girls' lives. But obviously that would be tricky. I don't know, this wouldn't work in a journal format, but that's the type of things we're seeing, is these specific moments, these defining moments, some of the joys. And I love that too. There's so much joy in this book. Yes, you get to see their heartaches and their struggles, like the chapter's called The Valley of the Shadow. We see all those, but we also see the beauty and the love that these girls have for each other and their family. The second chapter is called A Merry Christmas, and that is such a memorable minute in this book. A minute. And I don't know, there's a lot of joy in Little Women, and I love that. Because it does follow these girls in their lives, and like I mentioned, it's in a journal type of format, and I think I want to explain that a little more. What I mean by that is there's not necessarily a plot, like a driven goal that we have to accomplish, as you see in a lot of maybe like adventure styles books. That's not what this is. This is very much watching these girls grow and experiencing life with them and seeing their struggles. And what's amazing is that she takes this without a traditional driven plot, and it's enjoyable. And I think it's because she breaks it into smaller sections. The chapters are definitely have their own small plots within them, and then you have this overall arc that the characters and the themes all tie into to make this beautiful story. It's so amazing seeing how other people craft their stories. It's a masterpiece. The last thing I'm going to mention about this book is that the setting. This takes place during and after, I want to say, the Civil War, so in America. And that's an interesting fact because we see how that's affecting their lives, even though they're not directly related to that, except so for the first half of the book, their father's gone, he's fighting in the war. And so that is affecting them directly, of course. But what's really amazing to see is that even though there's this giant struggle going on that all of these girls are aware of, they're very much living their own lives in the midst of this. And there's reflections of what's going on in the world around them, but their setting is such a home-centered setting that they're making their home the best it can be. And it's really interesting. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what I'm trying to say about this. And but that's how it is. I mean, there's some stuff going on in the world even now, maybe something political, maybe something just really horrible. And the fact is that once you're in your house with your own family, sometimes it just kind of seems like it's so distant. You know, maybe you're playing a board game and it's not present, it's not in the forefront of your mind anymore. And I definitely think that that's how these girls are living their lives. Yes, they're aware that it's happening, that the Civil War is going on. They have people that they love are fighting in that sense, but they're very much living their own lives in the midst of it, because what can they do? And at the beginning it talks about them giving up some of their gifts so that, because there's a war going on. And so it does affect them personally, but they're still living their lives. Their world does and doesn't revolve around this. So it's interesting. The areas in which the Civil War touches their lives we see, but the areas that it doesn't we see even more. And I love that. It's so amazing because it's like a real family story, a real homey story. So, and then kind of on we've talked about in our elements of stories, special aesthetic slash magic system. Obviously it's not a magic system, this is a historical fiction, I guess you would place it. I would just say that the special aesthetic of this book is almost what I mentioned before. It's just a homey, a dear, a sweet, very innocent feel. It has that aspect of femininity that I love in this, and it's such a beautiful story to read. It is very much a slower paced book, and I actually, this time through, I listened to it on audiobook, and I actually listened to most of it on 1.5 speed, just because it helped me stay engaged with the reader, the narrator a little more, and so that's how it worked for me. But if you guys are considering reading this, now maybe you have a better balance or an idea of what this book has in it and what to expect from it. If you think it's something you might enjoy, I would recommend you go for it. It's definitely a classic, and you know, classics are something everyone should read at some point in their life. So consider that. I hope this was able to give you some sort of idea of what Little Women's like. I hope I was able to share why I love it so much, because it really is one of my favorite stories. These girls, Jo and Meg and Amy and Beth, are like my friends. You know, I grew up with them and I really love that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts about Little Women. Do you agree with these points? Do you disagree? What are your favorite parts of Little Women? Why do you love it so much? Or have you read it yet? You know, just let me know your thoughts. And if you'd like to see more of these type of videos, let us know down below as well, you know? Give us your thoughts. Well, thank you all for watching, and